Hello and welcome to Logos College Online Learning. Today we're going to continue with your career guidance, Unit 3. I know you don't have a book, but you can just follow along in the slideshow. Last week we talked about CVs and resumes and what you should include in them. And then we talked about details and some different small differences in both of them. All right? But basically what they are is a piece of paper, a document that gives information about yourself. It talks about your skills, your contact information, your education, your professional experience, your activities and interests, right? Your skills that you have, language skills, and then your references. Okay. And we talked about two types of CVs, and they were chronological CV and then the skills-based CV. We also talked about creating a strong first impression. And you do that in your CV or resume with a personal statement, or sometimes you'll see it as an objective statement. And remember the importance of making a strong first impression. And this is a case where you want to talk about the best things about yourself. Okay, and then we talked about jobs, skills, and we talked about soft skills and transferable skills, because many of you are about to graduate and you don't have much experience, but you do have a lot of soft skills that you can talk about in your CV. And skills such as communication, listening, having a positive attitude, patience, self-control. All right, and these are called soft skills or transferable skills because these can be used, these are required to do many different types of jobs. Soft skills are different from hard skills. Hard skills are skills that are very specific to a certain job. And then we talked about your interest. What do you like to do in your free time? That says a lot about you. And we talked about hobbies. And hobbies such as, let's say you like to cook. Okay, you don't simply say, I like to cook. All right, you say in your free time, I enjoy learning new recipes and cooking new types of food. And this shows that you're open to learning new things and that you're able to follow instructions. Chess, that. Okay. So here's a sample CV right here. And notice at the top, he has his name, contact information. And here he has a career objective. So this is could be kind of like a personal statement. But the career objective it changes for every company that you apply for, because maybe some companies are looking for you to do different things for them. Look at this person's career objective: to work with a large professional service firm and assist clients in achieving their goals. Okay. So you can have a career objective or a personal statement. Me, I would have a combination of both, right? I would incorporate my personal statement and the things I'm really good at, and then how that could help their company. Then here, this person's CV has their skills summary. Next, I have their education. Next, their professional experience. Okay, down here, other experience, then the achievements and interests, and then their references. Right. Today, I'm going to talk about education, your qualifications, We're going to talk about professional experience, other experience, and then also references. If you look at the word references, you notice it's spelled wrong in this CV. And that's another thing I'm going to talk about today is mistakes, common CV mistakes that you have to avoid. And spelling is one of them. Okay, let's talk about highlighting your work experience. So I know some of you don't have much experience, but for the ones that you do, for the ones that do have experience, this section is where you highlight your professional achievements, right? Things that you have done at work, which are directly relevant to the position you are applying for. All right, that's a very important phrase right there. Directly relevant to the position you are applying for. If you are applying to be a web designer, right? You're not going to talk about your professional experience when you worked as a barista. If you're applying to become a teacher, you're not going to talk about your experience you had maybe as a shop owner, or maybe you're not going to talk about your internship with an engineering firm, right? So you want to talk about your experience. You want to change your CV, and you want to make sure that you use experience that is relevant, which means that is important. That is important to getting the position that you're applying for. So here's what you should ask yourself. What were your duties? What did you do every day? How did you do it? Did you do it as a team? Did you do it by yourself? All right, and what were the positive results of the actions you took? Okay. Notice it says positive. In a CV, you always want to state the most positive things about yourself and the things that you have done. All right, you want to state the most positive skills that you have and activities. You never ever say anything negative about yourself or any experience you've ever done in your CV. So when you give information about your past work experience and achievements in your CV, we use words in the past or simple past. The verbs have to be in the simple past because it's something you've already done. And notice you don't use a personal pronoun. You don't say, I chaired weekly team meetings, all right? You just simply say, chaired weekly team meetings. So two important things about professional experience section. You use the past simple, and you don't use personal pronouns. Look at all these verbs down here. These are action verbs. And these verbs, you'll see them very often in CVs, because these are powerful words. These words show that you have accomplished something. These verbs show achievement. These verbs, they show work that you've done. Right? Verbs like achieved, approved, calculated, consulted, delegated, demonstrated, designed, evaluated, implemented, improved, presented, supervised. Right? I want you to use these verbs when you're writing your CV, because these verbs, they get the attention of the person reading them, because these are very powerful action verbs. Okay. So let's say part of your duties, let's say you worked in an office and your job was to help design a new business plan, a new business strategy for a company that needed help developing a business plan. You could say designed or developed a business strategy for a telecommunications business that wanted to open an office in Vientiane, Laos. Right? You could say facilitated, recommended. Right? So when you talk about work that you have done, what were your duties? Try to find work that you've done that you can use these verbs to start to start your statement with. Okay, let's move on to education and qualifications. So a qualification, that's like a diploma, a degree, a certification that you have that talks about your education. And for many of you, your education and qualifications are going to be your strongest selling point because you don't have a lot of job experience yet. So you'll want to put this information close to the top of your CV because you want this to be one of the first things that your potential employer sees or reads. Right? Notice this is especially true if you are a recent graduate or you have obtained excellent academic results, or you have gained a professional qualification, which is a prerequisite for the job you're applying for. Right? So if you have a high GPA and you're an excellent student and you want to show that, I would put that at the top of your CV. Right? Where should recent graduates put the education at the top? Okay, let's skip that. All right. Here's some examples of qualifications. So definition of a qualification is a pass of an examination or an official completion of a course, especially one conferring status as a recognized practitioner of a professional activity. Right. So many of you have these qualifications, right? Maybe you have certificates of volunteering, certificates of achievement. Maybe you took a short course. Maybe you took a professional development, a skills course, a short IT course, or a short Microsoft Excel course, and you get a certificate for it. And you would list that as your qualifications. Many of you right now are doing a diploma, all right? A higher diploma in English, communications English, or maybe you have a higher diploma in finance. Many of you are at university pursuing a bachelor's degree. Or if you're done, you're doing a graduate diploma, a master's degree, or a PhD. If you have these are all examples of your education and qualifications. And I would absolutely list this in your CV. So look at this box outlined in purple. This is an example of an education of a certain person. And it lists a university. Right, it lists the university first, and then what they got. They have a Bachelor's of Science in European Regional Development, and in parentheses it says Human Geography and Macroeconomics. So here, if you get a Bachelor's of Arts or Bachelor's of Science, if you want to make sure that the employer knows what specific major that you got the Bachelor's of Science or Arts in, you put that in parentheses and you tell them, all right? Work experience, placement, exchange, dissertation. Okay. Let's move on. References. All right. So references, these are people you know that that you give information to your next future employers. And these people are the references are people that can validate who you are. Are you who you say that you are? And they can prove that to the next employer that you have done what you claim to have done for previous employers. So let's say you work at, I don't know, Joma Cafe. and you're moving on to work for a different restaurant or bigger cafe, and you list down the manager at Joma as your reference, and you want to make sure that you ask the manager first, can I list you as a reference? Do you mind? I am looking for applying for a position at another place, and if he or she says yes, they would be your reference, and they would say that yes, he or she worked at Joma for me from 2017 to 2019, and I can say that he or she was a good employee. Right? So references, look at question number 1 right here. References are important because you need proof. You need to prove to your next employer who you are, and that yes, you do have experience and you were a good employee. And number 2 says, how many referees do you need and who should you choose? So you don't want too many references. 2 or 3 is fine. A good answer is as many as you think necessary. All right. And who should you choose? You should choose people that can say positive things about you. You never want to choose someone that does not like you or had a bad relationship with you. Okay. Number 3, when is a referee no longer useful? So let's say you had a job back in like 2010, and this person no longer remembers who you are. Right? That's when a reference is no longer useful. It's too far in the past. So you want to stay current, as current as possible. Number 4, what happens? You don't get on with the most obvious choices for your reference. So this means that you don't get along. Let's say you had your past employer and you don't get along with them. Of course, you would not use them as a reference. You want to find people that will say positive things about you. Is it okay to use someone you know well who works for an organization? Make sure for any reference for anybody, you get their permission first. You want to ask them, is it okay? I would like to, if it is okay with you, I would like to use you as a reference. Make sure they know beforehand. Right? Do you have to give your current employer? Not necessarily. They'll ask you in the interview, how can you find out what our reference says about you? Here, most of the time, let's say your future employer, they'll call your reference, and that call is supposed to be confidential. You're not supposed to know what they said about you. Right? So there's really no good way to know. So you definitely want to find references that you had a good relationship with and that will say positive things about you. Okay. Let's get out of here. Okay, let's go to this. Last thing about CVs. Avoiding common CV mistakes. And they want you to think of 5 mistakes that people commonly make when writing a CV. Let's see if we can think. Let's see if we can get 5. All right. So 1, a common one that many people. Let's expand this. Right. Many people they forget to put their name in big letters on top. All right. They forget. So that should be the first thing that you do in a CV. You want to make sure that your name is in big letters on top, so that your employer or the person reading your CV can see it. All right. Second one, believe it or not, they put in contact information that's not accurate. You have to put in a correct phone number. You have to put in a correct email. You have to put in the correct address so that the company can get in contact with you in case they would like to call you in for an interview. Other things that people commonly make in writing their CVs, they don't list relevant information. Let's just say don't list relevant job experience and activities. Okay. Remember, you want to change each CV depending on what job you're looking for. And by doing that, by changing, you want to list the most important things that you have done to get that job. Don't list relevant job experience and activities. What else do people do wrong? They don't they use the wrong references. They use people that aren't going to give them a good reference. And then the last one is a big one, all right? That's spelling. Spelling mistakes. Some people spell the name of the company they're applying to wrong. Sometimes people spell their name wrong. They spell the email address wrong. They spell words wrong in a CV. And that's very, very, very unprofessional, because spelling is something that is so easy to fix, because all you have to do is double check and triple check your CV before you send it. Okay. All right. Let's go down to 2.2 here. So here, Ella, she's an HR officer, a human resources officer, and she's talking about things that people usually do wrong with their CVs, right? And number one, it says, according to Ella, what words are commonly misspelled? So spelling is a huge thing that you don't do wrong in CVs. Words like receive and correspondence, practice, advice, right? So make sure you get the spelling correctly, right? And why does she believe short, concise CVs are preferable? And sometimes another common mistake is the CVs are too long. Okay. You want to list the most relevant information for you in order to get that job. The most important things. You don't want to talk about every single thing you have ever done. Right? Oh, number 3 is a big one. Why shouldn't you lie in a CV? Okay. That's one I forgot. Incorrect contact information and lies. Okay. Not only should you give correct information, you shouldn't lie about things that you have done or things that you haven't done. If you say that you have 5 years experience developing on web designing, make sure that is true, because they'll find out if you lie. Do not lie in your CV. Always state the truth, the facts, things that are real, that are true. Right. And number 4, according to Ella, should you use the same CV for all your applications? No. No, 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 no. All right. List relevant job experience and activities for that specific job. Okay. Next, I want to move on to cover letters. All right, so cover letter is different from a CV. Cover letter here says your first impression in front of recruiter. Right? So cover letter states has your personal statement. It could have a career objective on it. So it's a separate piece of document from your CV, and you usually send it together. You put the cover letter on top of the CV when you send it. They should always read the cover letter first. So what is the purpose of a cover letter? All right, it's the first impression that your employer will have of you is through the cover letter. that you will include on your resume. And a cover letter, it needs to have information that will catch the reader's eye. Right? If they read the cover letter first and they don't like it, they're probably not going to read your CV or resume. So there's certain things that all cover letters must have. All right. What is a cover letter? A CV gives information about the educational qualifications and professional experience you have, whereas a cover letter explains why you want the job. Okay, so the cover letter first tells the reader, maybe the person in HR, why you want this job. Why do you want to be a teacher, an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, an architect, an accountant? Right? A cover letter should complement, not duplicate your CV. Okay. So you don't want to repeat what you're going to say in your CV. A cover letter explains why you want the job, and it should introduce yourself. It should introduce who you are and what is your motivation for applying for this job. The main purpose of a personalized cover letter is to persuade the reader to read your CV and consider you for the vacant position. All right. So when you persuade somebody, you want to convince them that yes, you should hire me. You should call me for an interview. And the vacant position, that means open position. A cover letter is often your earliest written contact with a potential employer, creating a critical first impression. A well-written, well-focused cover letter demonstrates your written communication skills. It will help you get that all-important interview. All right. So a cover letter is the first thing that many employers read, and this is your first chance to make that very, very important first impression. All right. It shouldn't be very long. All right. It should be focused, well-written. And it talks about the best things about you and how you can help their company, all right, how you have the skills to fulfill what that company is looking for. Right? The letter of application should follow the general guidelines for all business letters. It should have an introduction, a main body, and a final paragraph. All right. So business letter, it always starts with "Dear so-and-so, to whom it may concern." It has usually your contact information and the recipient's contact information. It has an introduction. This is usually, it tells about who you are, your personal statement. It has a main body. It talks about your skills and how those skills can help the company or the business that you are applying to. And a final paragraph. All right, this talks about your motivation and why, and this is your last chance to sell yourself. Right? This is your last chance for you to make the best impression to the employer. Part C says find an alternative expression for a cover letter. Sometimes people also say letter of application, which is because you are applying for a job with a cover letter. You want them to read your CV, your resume. Here's a bad cover letter. Dear so-and-so, I am a creative and skilled individual, world of marketing. I have lots of experience references. Please review my resume. Let me know. We'll schedule a meeting. Thanks. Right. This is not good because it doesn't have, it has barely an introduction, no body, and then no conclusion. All right. And it doesn't have a final paragraph. It's just 1, 2, 3 sentences, and then it says thanks. Very informal language too. Here's a good one. Their name is Jane Smith. They work for this company. Here's where they live, the date. Dear sir, madam. All right, this is an application for what? So you tell the reader what you're applying for. I would like to apply for the role of medical PA what you have got advertised in. All right, so this tells the reader what you're applying for and where did you see the advertisement. Next paragraph, I am an organized person. I have excellent computer skills, experience doing reports, and I am always keen to learn new programs. Okay, so next one, she talks about her skills, that the skills that she has, and she relates it to the work as a PA, which is a personal assistant. And notice how she talks about the skills that she has can do the job that this company is looking for. Has excellent computer skills. So as a personal assistant, you have to do a lot of reports and you create presentations and documents. So here she relates the skills that she can do, that she has, and tells the company, the person reading it, the employer, how her skills can help them, how it can help their business. At the end, last paragraph, I am an excellent communicator, determination, I enjoy my career, I work hard, I pay great attention. Right? So here, this is a personal statement. This is your last chance to say the best things about you, and then how all the good things about you are relevant to helping their company. All right. Part F, Felix, he's a professional job seeker, job hunter. He helps people. He helps people find jobs, and he's going to say some things about what we should do when we write a CV. All right? And I highlighted these things, this conversation. We're not going to listen to it. We're just going to read it. And the first one, he says, use high quality paper that matches the paper of your CV. And a check means yes, and X means no. Right? And notice he says right here, first of all, it's extremely important that you create a positive impression. If you're sending your application by post, you should use good quality matching paper for your cover letter and CV. Right? You want to use good paper. You don't want to use paper that's crumbled up or torn. Believe it or not, I've seen some CVs that look like that. So you want to use good quality paper in your CVs. Ensure that your cover letter is written using formal language. Yes, always use formal language. Don't use informal language, right? If you're not sure what that is, when you text message, there's just I'm going to the store. Is there anything you need? Here's informal language. I'm going to the store. What you need? Okay, so that's not a real word. Formal language. I'm going to the store. Is there anything you would like to pick up for you? Would like me to pick up for you? Okay. So when you write business letters, you always use formal language. If you're not sure, right? Here's informal. Here's formal. Sorry, this is informal. Please accept our apologies for. This is formal. I'm writing to inform you. This is formal. Right? So when we use formal language, it shows that we're professional, and you want to look professional. You want to communicate that you are professional, and you have a better chance of getting that job interview. Right. Should we use the same cover letter for every application? You should show that you've read about the company, done research. The most important thing to bear in mind is that every cover letter should be written specifically for the position you're applying for. Right? So the answer is no. You should not use the same cover letter for each one. So that's an X, no. Show that you've done research into the company you're applying to. You should show that you've read about the company, done some research, and thought about the specific position you're applying for. So that is yes. You definitely should do some research on the company so you know what they're looking for, you know what the company does, and then you think about it to yourself. Am I a match for this company? Do I have what the company needs? So number 4, yes. Number 5, emphasize your suitability for the post. So this means talk about that you have the skills that they're looking for. Right? When you write your letter, you should concentrate on demonstrating the skills that are required for the post. So yes, make sure you write in the cover letter that you have the skills that they're looking for. Should you enclose copies of your educational qualifications and certificates? It says no, don't bother. If a company wants to see any documents like that, they'll ask for them. Right? So when you send your cover letter, you don't need to send copies of your qualifications or anything with it. Unless they ask for it, then yes, of course. All right, last thing we do. This is going to be your homework here. Part H, it says, look at the example. This is a good cover letter that Felix sent Vicky. Right. They want you to read the letter and answer the following questions. So, Jane is studying at King's College in London. Where did she do her work last summer? Right, this is not important. What's important is these things listed, letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Right? Because this cover letter, I want you to analyze this cover letter as your homework. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this exercise here on Google Forms. And this exercise is going to be on Google Forms. It's going to be number 1. And it's going to say, give your contact information and current date. And then this one already answered for you, is letter A. All right? It's A because in a cover letter, here's section A. What is A? This is your contact information. Right? So it says, give your contact information and current date. Next, and yours sincerely and type your name under your signature. Indicate Miss or Mr. if not obvious. Here, this is the letter L. So in Google Forms, for number 2, you would select L. So number 3, question number 3 in your homework will say, give a clear context. Say who you are and why you are writing. So now, you already chosen A and L. Is it B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, or K? So you have to read this cover letter, right? And then you answer these questions in Google Forms. And you match number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way to number 12 to the letters A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L. Right? And remember, A and L already done for you. Okay? All right. That's it for today. I will release the homework out to you sometime tonight, or I'm sorry, tomorrow or Friday. You'll get it on Friday. Another thing, if you notice, I had to update the Q&A sessions. A lot of students have been joining, so I'm happy. Again, it's for people that have questions about the lessons or homework or anything related to learning online at Logos College. Okay? Okay, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.